I'm here with two very, very special ladies that are working on Broadway. And the reason why they're so special is because they are working mothers on Broadway. And so I'd like to first introduce to you one of my colleagues from Motown Musical, the big smash hit that keeps going and going on Broadway. We've been open for a little more than a year now, so we just celebrated our 500 performances. And so this is Sabrina Sloan.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Here. Wonderful. So good to see you.
So good to see you too.
And I was just saying, I love this necklace. It's so gorgeous.
Girl, this is Monique Lushman. Yes, Monique Lushman. She, the bracelet, the necklace.
I need both.
You need both. Okay, so
both.
Monique Lushman out there. Sabrina's going to need both of these.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I love them.
Yeah, I wore this for when I performed for the Miss Germany pageant.
Oh.
And then I felt like I didn't get enough of it because I loved it so much.
Yes.
So I'm like, I think I'm going to wear this again.
Definitely.
So, yeah,
perfect.
It's just so
Beautiful.
intricate. So yes,
Beautiful.
we love Monique. All right. So anyway, Sabrina,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, what I do know is that Sabrina is starring in Motown Musical as one of the famous Supremes, and also as Suzanne DePass, who discovered the Jackson 5 and was the right-hand woman for Berry Gordy Jr. And so you play two really amazing and pivotal roles in the show, and constantly changing clothes. Yes. And we share the same dressing room, so I know half the time she's not there because she's busy on stage. Exactly. So tell us how. Tell us the process of getting into Motown, and you're originally from California.
I am. I was actually born in Long Island, New York.
So you
and
came
so
back
I'm kind
home.
of a New York. I'm kind of a New York baby, I think, at heart.
Yes.
But we moved to Thousand Oaks, LA, when I was like 3 years old.
Okay.
So I grew up mostly in Southern California.
Yes.
Went to Northwestern for school in Illinois, Evanston, Illinois, and then moved to New York a week and a half after September 11th. I was actually supposed to fly out on the 12th, and obviously everything.
Obviously that was
halted and stopped. Right. And then my family was like, I don't know if I need to come. But I think it was the best time for me to just like jump in and come to the city, because there was, in spite of everything that happened, there was a real sense of community and camaraderie, and just that New York spirit of like, we're getting up and we're hitting the pavement, we're coming back, and you can't knock us down.
Exactly.
And I really felt that and got caught up in that spirit.
And that energy was different too.
It was.
After September 11th, it was like people were just, "Are you okay?"
Yeah,
I mean, like strangers.
Well, no, that's true. People were definitely more.
It was definitely more open, emotional,
a little bit more caring, and
absolutely,
and a little bit more, but touching base with people.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it was that being sensitive to that, but then also just that, like, we're gonna build ourselves back up and come back. So it was a great time to come. And let's see, my first Broadway show I booked was probably a year later. I would work during the day and audition and
did the whole grind,
and then finally booked Hairspray on Broadway, and that was my first show. And I actually, at that point, I first lived in Brooklyn, and then I lived in Staten Island for a while, which was not something I would recommend. But I would literally get on the ferry and come over, work downtown in the financial district all day, take the train up to the theater on 52nd and then the Alzheimer Theater, and do the show at night, take the train back down, take the ferry over, back home, sleep, come back and do it again. Paid off my student loans, and that was the grind. So it was.
So you were working during the day while you were doing
I was
the
working
show.
during the day, like temping during the day, and then it's. I mean, but it prepares you for. That's the other thing about being in New York. It's that. And being an actor in New York, it's the hustle mentality. You gotta get it done and make it happen.
Yes,
make your dreams come true.
Absolutely, and that's what exactly you're doing.
Yeah.
And what's so special about what you're doing now is the fact that you were doing this simultaneously while being an amazing mother. to a son, Jackson, right?
Jackson, yeah.
Which I love the fact that her son's name is
Yes.
Jackson. And she's doing Motown.
Exactly. He's preparing to be the little Michael Jackson.
It's almost like it was just like meant to be like
Totally.
the stars were aligned. They were
Totally.
like, and
Totally.
you're gonna name your son Jackson, and you're gonna be a Motown. And
It's so great.
So how is it kind of doing the, well, now, of course, let's kind of rewind, because you were in New York doing Hairspray.
Right.
And then...
I've been sort of back and forth between, I got married after that.
Yes.
And to my college sweetheart, and moved to LA because that's where he practiced law in LA. And so we were back there. And did American Idol when we were back there, and American Idol. That was a fun experience. So, but the stage, Broadway, it's what I trained for in school, but it's what I've always loved and done, and so it's it's in me, and so I kept getting drawn back, and I always kind of wanted to come back to New York, and it worked out. We came back. Well, I did In the Heights on the road,
yes.
And
which is when you got pregnant.
Which is when I got pregnant.
Yes.
And wasn't necessarily planning on it, but those
a
visits,
blessing is a blessing.
Those visits when you're apart from your husband.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened somewhere in Pittsburgh, or Philadelphia, one of those, and yeah, so I was working in the show until I was about almost 6 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant. Because as you can see, this first time around,
yes,
you can go for a while
before
exactly. You show. But yeah, it was great. And then I left the show in LA, so we were there when he was about 2 months old. I had already booked Catch Me If You Can, so we came back to New York for that and did that till he was almost a year old, and that show closed. Went back to
now,
LA.
when you booked Catch Me If You Can, was it an audition you did when you were in LA?
It was an audition I did.
National audition?
In New York at the same time I did in the Heights, actually. And it was just, literally, they booked those people like a long time.
Got it.
So it was, I knew I had the job for quite a while.
So you knew you were going into Catch Me?
Yes.
For a while?
Yes.
Okay.
So at least I could prepare, when I was pregnant. And there was still kind of that if factor of like, well, we don't know when the baby comes. Are we going to want to do that? But
yes.
It was really great for me to get right back in.
How soon did you go into Catch Me after you gave birth?
He was 2 months old. He was 2 months old. We went back to New York, and we swapped houses with someone in Brooklyn. They came to our condo in LA.
Yes.
And it was hard that first day. I was crying. I was like, oh, I'm not ready.
Yes.
And it was, rehearsals for a New Broadway show, which is also, very intense. Like, it's all day. It's all day.
Rehearsals, you're never home.
I was like, oh, when am I going to see him? And I was nursing, and so my husband would bring him to the rehearsal space at the dinner break, and I was pumping, and then he would come, and I would have my little time with him, and he'd take him back home on the train, all bundled up because it was the winter. So it was.
And then he was probably feeding. You were saving your milk, and he was feeding.
I would.
The baby
I would
when
nurse
you
and
weren't
pump
there.
and refrigerate and go back, and so it was definitely a challenge. It was, but you make it work.
Of
you
course.
make it work and make it happen.
This feature is about amazing working moms on Broadway, because it's not just enough to be working on Broadway, but then being a mom on Broadway. And so we've heard Sabrina's story, kind of how she transitioned in, but let's hear your amazing story. So tell us a little about yourself to spotlight readers, where you're originally from, and how it all kind of began. And
okay, well, I'm originally born and raised in Pittsburgh with strong roots in New Orleans. So I feel like almost half the year we were in New Orleans and we weren't in Pittsburgh. Really strong Creole Bangladeshi family.
Yes.
So it's a weird mix. And just my siblings and my parents and I always knew what I wanted to do. So I started dancing at 6, tap, ballet, jazz, and then going on to high school, I was the first person. I started studying classical with Claudia Pinza. Her daughter, her father is Ezio Pinza's son, and she introduced me. And so I followed her into college at the University of Pittsburgh. Went to Italy and studied with her. So I was really going the classical route. And I had to pay for college. And I just loved Broadway, so I would sing the jazz clubs in college and then do Broadway shows at night. I've always just been doing too much. I need to sit down somewhere. Yeah. But, you know, that I was so hungry and I wanted it so badly. I had to choose, and finally went the musical theater route, and also strong ties in the church, growing up in a gospel Pentecostal church as well, you know, going to those, and my mother was Catholic. We just had everything. That was all, if I wasn't singing mass, then I was singing church. So just for some reason I had an incredible mother who just saw something in me, I don't know what it is, and fostered that. She wasn't a show mom, but she just was, she saw the passions and figured out creative ways to nurture that. You know, we could wake up in the morning listening to Millie Jackson and Al Green, and then Jesse Norman or some other opera singer would be on the radio, and then Boxcar Willie. Then she loved her bluegrass and her country and her Cajun music. Wow. So it was very eclectic, growing up with a kind of eccentric but really quiet mom. She was just different. Yes. Just really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spirit. I just have to say her, because if she saw anything in you, she would just cut out every article, and she would just say, you know, how I've been following you, how are you? And she would just make you feel like you're the most special. So having that, I guess, instilled that sense of self-esteem as well too, because as artists we can be really insecure. But she was really dedicated to her family. Yeah. She was a single parent. She was a single parent, but she worked hard, really before her time. Owned a house and car back then when people weren't doing that. Divorced when you really didn't do that. College grad, you know, from Xavier University in pharmacy. Like, she just never. Yeah. She was really before her time.
She was a Renaissance woman.
She really was. Yeah. Very, very. She came to New York first to be with my family here, so to be in Pittsburgh was a little hard for her, but she made it work. And then I just knew, I always knew I was going to be on Broadway. She took me to my first Broadway show. She took me to see Annie. And we saw Bubbling Brown Sugar at that time.
Oh, fantastic. Wow.
And then I remember, and that's why she doesn't understand, like when I am a silent, obsessive fan of hers. Wow. Because she's my first idol. Right. And I remember my mom saying, do you want to go backstage and wait at the door and see if we can get her autograph? Yes. And I just remember, like, that I want to be there, and that, like, for her to even know that, I don't know how she knew to do all of that. Yes. And then, but I always knew I wanted to be on Broadway, and she put me in everything: Civic Light Opera, Mini Stars, Miss Black Teenage. Like, she just had me always rolling. Yes. Went to Philadelphia, started making my way in the theaters there. Within 2 years, that's when I got my first production contract. I just hit the pavement running, and then started out in Ragtime, and that's how I made my Broadway debut.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep. And then went
such a great show.
Lion King, stayed there for 15 years.
I know.
They were gracious enough to.
The queen
all that time I had my daughter, though, but I had her at the end of my college career.
So now when so you had your daughter before you even had your Broadway
I had to take a year and a half off of college. I was pregnant in college with her, and that's how that happened. Was with her father for 18 years. We married 18 years, and then we had my son while I was in Lion King. And then after all of that, you know.
And you took your maternity leave from
Yes,
Lion
I
King.
did.
How long did you take?
I took, because with her, they wrote in Big River for me to be pregnant. So I had her, I worked up until the day I delivered. Sure. And I was young, I was 23, I didn't know any, and then I was scheduled to go back and do the Shakespeare Festival 4 weeks after. You're not even supposed to be moving around, so 4 weeks later, my mother had just retired, she moved in, and I went and did the Shakespeare. So when I had my son, I took 8 months. Okay. I did 5 and then extended to 3. I said, I don't have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that anymore. And I remember...
Because you can take up to a year.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. God bless you. And I remember I was 35, and I told my husband, I said, if we're going to do this, I was going to be 35. Once we get to 35, I'm not going to do it. I got pregnant on my 35th birthday. Wow. Am I supposed to say all this? That was my birthday present. He was like, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, he was like,
I did that one. And then that's it. Just, you know, it's been my constant just my constant daily struggle and success is wearing all of those hats.
Yes.
How to, because it's not just a mother. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a, you know, as your parents are getting older, you're a child of an older parent.
Yes.
You're a best friend, you're a career person. So you wear all of those things and you have to figure out the balance. And for me, what I realize is once you let that go and know that there is no balance and balance, you give yourself permission to fall short sometimes.
Yes.
And it is what it is. You can't wear all those hats. So some days you might have to call out a show because that household is crazy, or some you can just tell your kids need you to plug in. They're a little weird.
Yeah.
You need to plug in. And some days you have to say, I'm sorry, I have to go to work, honey. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to say no to a project. Sometimes you have to say this. I definitely have to have to do this. And sometimes there's a dream you say, if I don't foster this dream right now, I'm gonna explode. So you just have to figure it out and be okay when it doesn't work out, because that's the yin and yang. It doesn't always work out, but that's okay because you can get up for another day. And my faith is very, very important to that.
Yes.
And being committed to being aware and wanting to be emotionally and spiritually and mentally healthy. That's all part of it too. So you
take one day at a time.
Yeah, you do, but it's one of those things you have to put the oxygen mask on first. I just saw that someone, so that take care of yourself first, so that you can take care of everybody. And sometimes you fall a little short, but that's okay. I have to keep saying that to myself.
Like, this is okay.
Yeah, that imbalance is the balance.
It is.
That's just how the universe works, and I'm okay with that. Like today, I felt, I posted Virgos hate to make mistakes, and I was like, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? It wasn't in malice, and keep it rolling.
Yes.
So that's all I can say. And
oh, I just get chills being the two.
But you can't forget your dreams. You have to keep
absolutely
dreaming,
well,
so your kids can see that.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're an example to your kids are watching you.
Right.
I mean, before they're even able to talk, they're observing everything that's going around, and all of that energy that you put out there, they're watching and they're just kind of absorbing it. So then, it helps them. I mean, they're all individuals within themselves, but we're all a product of our environments.
Yeah.
And so when your child, like my mother was an amazing Renaissance woman when it came to like starting her business with $75 and making, being the most successful Black staffing woman in New York State. And it's just like, I'm like, $75. And she was a single mom at that time, and I loved my dad, but things didn't work out. And so she was left with, this is
in front of the other,
and it's just like that mentality of watching her, like, build this business from being in the apartment in the Bronx to suddenly having 3 offices, regionally, and like, wow, well, if she can do that with a degree in criminal justice, had nothing to do with business administration whatsoever, then, it's like, it inspired me to be motivated, and so I think, like, as mothers, we just pass that down to our kids, because,
I have a question for you, and I asked this to a young lady who works backstage. She's one of the sound ladies at Violet. I didn't realize her mother, who was one of my dressers at Lion King, and her dad is a head carpenter at Cinderella. And I said, so how was that growing up with 2 parents in the business? Right. And she said, when I was younger, it was really hard because I wanted my parents home. And I said, did you have a little resentment? And she was like, I did. I said, but now that you're older in the business, she was like, that little girl in me wants to sometimes be mad that they weren't there. She said, but now that I'm here and I saw how hard they worked for us, I get it. And so it depends on personalities too. One kid may just say, where were you? And then when they get older, they get it. And then the other one is like, I need to be just like that. So just beware to young moms. Because I really do think a lot of your children are hardwired. It doesn't, you have 2 kids growing up in a less fortunate situation, and one kid is saying, oh, I know I'm going to get out one day.
Yeah.
And the other one is like, the streets are hard, you know, oh, woe is me, life is...
Yes.
And, and then you have two rich kids. One grows up and say, you know what, my parents worked really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like that.
Yeah.
I owe them everything.
Right.
And the other one, I'm entitled.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think a lot is hardwired. No matter what you do,
true.
you're kind of go
Yeah,
one way
true.
because those kids are socialized. Environment is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to just know that. And
it's amazing
when
how
they
you
get
can-
older,
yeah.
you have to realize it's your life. I'm
That's
just
true.
your guide.
That's
I'm
true.
still
You do
here,
what you- yeah.
but it's your life. Don't take that on.
Right.
Exactly.
That's my belief.
Yes.
Well, I think it's interesting that we all grew up with single moms, because I think that does absolutely affect how we are as women, and the drive and the motivation and, and the success of them. And I was very much the same. I think having a child definitely changed my relationship with my mom, because first of all, I needed her a lot more, because moving here to do Motown, I literally had to call her and say, I have to leave next week. Can you come for 3 weeks and help me take care of Jackson?
Yes.
And she did it, and you know, luckily she is retired, and you know, but that and then I also was that girl who was like, my parents were never there. They were always working. They didn't come to the games and the shows as much. I was always the last to be picked up, and you know, and I had that whole mentality. But you know, the exhaustion that I have just trying to make life work and somewhat pursue my dreams. I don't even think my mom was really able to pursue her dreams to the degree that I am able to.
Right.
So I have that sympathy for her, where I'm like, thank you for
The
working so I could
sacrifices,
just go to college and study this so I could have my dreams. So being a mom definitely flips the switch and changes how you view your own relationship with your parents and what they did to help you get to where you are. You have a greater respect for that. And I think having friends who are moms in the business is also key, because there are going to be those friends who don't get it and don't understand when you drop the ball, or when you say, I got to cancel today, I can't do it, this is going on.
We could drink with you.
I know, what are you talking about?
See my kids.
It's hard, and there's not any at Motown. There aren't any. I'm the only one so far until Kenji comes back. So it's sometimes, you know, hard to explain. Same thing when you get married. It's like a little bit of a process, but having those other moms that you can. My best friend sent me this like credo of moms and as friends, and it was so on point, because it was everything like, if I don't call you back for 2 weeks, you know, you are forgiven and we will understand. Like there's just you don't even have to talk about it. You just know they love you and they care about you, and they're doing everything.
There's nothing
they can
personal.
it is not personal. Just you get it. You get it. Just trying to make life work. So.
Absolutely, and I guess we're fortunate to have, you know, I would say that our mothers had it even harder because they were single mothers.
Yes,
absolutely. You know, and then it's already difficult having, you know, a supportive husband.
Yes. Yes. Imagine being right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's. I think that you know, we'll have to do a spotlight just on mothers.
Yes.
That's
true.
I feel like this is going to be part of like our moms too. You know.
So glad you're doing this, because this is huge. When we were doing Sound of Music, a lot of the women there, I was surprised, were mothers. Almost all of the nuns were moms, and then that schedule would come out, and then it would change, and it would. Like, oh my God, my babysitter! I need to get a new. My husband is not going to. This is
scheduling,
and that was our constant conversation. The scheduling, and sometimes you're working to pay for it, but you know, but that's okay. But that was a real reality check, you know, and trying to figure out those late hours.
Yes,
we're not traditional hours on top of it, so that part can get a little difficult too. But I was glad to see so many moms. Things have changed.
I know. And Audrey's a mom too. And, you know, I mean,
a lot more dancer girls are becoming moms.
Yes.
I'm loving that. So,
Broadway, the moms are taking over.
I love it.
And I think, you know, it's kind of, it's good to have that mentality. Like when you're a mother, suddenly you're, I don't know, you just organize things differently too, because
work it out.
You have to.
You have no choice.
It's sort of, you kind of like jump, and that's, you know, you see what happens. It's not, and unfortunately, as me, I'm sort of like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to do my schedule for the next 2-3 weeks, and then you realize that something happens with the baby, and
It's
you know,
day-to-day.
everything is all that planning that you had just kind of goes out the window, and,
And then you learn how to live your life like that.
exactly, and that's okay.
It's totally fine.
So now, Sabrina, we had left off with your transition. Now, last time we were talking about how you did Catch Me,
Mm-hmm.
and you're here in New York, and literally she literally went into rehearsals 2 months after her baby was born
I think I had
for a new show.
I think I had definitely a couple days of crying, especially with the dancing. I was like,
Were you breastfeeding still at the same time?
yes, I was pumping and breastfeeding, but
Which you were a slave to pump, right?
yes, slave to the pump. That thing. I know. I'd like, bring the baby. I want the baby. I don't want that pump. But it was, I called it the Jerry Mitchell, school of back to get your body back, post-baby back, because it was, I definitely bounced back because I was just,
You had to.
the workout of it.
It was-
yeah, I had no choice. So that was one, definitely a plus. And then Motown, I've been.
Now, how
had
long
asked-
Catch Me?
It was it ran for, gosh, like nine months, I think, or something like that. It was yeah.
And then so after it closed,
After it closed, we ended up
moving
going back to LA just because we had the condo there and stuff. But we've always kind of been fluid and thought about being bi-coastal and thinking about coming back. And then my husband's firm has their main office here, and so they were always like, "Come back whenever." But I said, "I'm going to go back when I have a job, and when we're not going to live in Brooklyn, we're going to make it as convenient as possible as the baby gets older, so that we can maximize our time together." And that's what we did. This time we had to find a place really quickly. I've been asked to be in the workshops from the beginning of Motown, and just wasn't the right time. I mean, he was so little, and it was like I can't make that move for the 3 weeks without a place, and
Right.
so it was just too difficult all the time.
So you're already
before,
on
and then,
Charles' radar from the beginning.
he saw me and Catch Me, and but I
Charles being the
happened.
director of Motown.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
just
You
so
made
that
a
I
little
clarify.
sacrifice, but
I
it
did,
was still
and
being
that's the
worked
thing,
out
and
for
that's
you
the
the
thing
whole
you
time.
absolutely learn as a parent and as an artist, that you have to learn. And even earlier, if you can, it's okay to make life plans and do your life and say, that doesn't fit in right now. It doesn't fit in, but if it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And trust in that. And it did. And it came actually at the perfect time, because my husband was really ready. And I've been waiting for all this time for him to be ready. And he was like, we need to go to New York. Let's go to New York.
Oh, that's great.
I was hoping, like, wait, let me please just have a job so I know that we can, be like, And so they called after the Diana opened up, and I went in for the audition, and then the Supremes part opened up, and then I was like, okay, look, they're like, can you come in a week? It's like, all right, well, let's figure it out. Let's make it happen.
A week?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
really a week.
Yeah.
So we don't do anything easy.
No,
but most people don't. That's the thing I find. It's not like, oh, it's so difficult for us. It's just life challenging.
The fact that opening did not happen within a week. Well, and I don't know if you know, but Sydney. She went into Sydney's place.
Oh, and
And-
Sydney came because we did.
Yes.
Oh, right.
And Sydney was doing Sound of Music, but and unfortunately, because Motown hadn't reached its 1-year threshold, they were not releasing people for work releases. They wanted to. They made a rule that once we've reached a 1 year, then we'll start giving people professional leaves. And Sydney was devastated, and she was so devastated, and so she had to make a decision: Sound of Music or Motown. And she's doing just fine now, starring in Dirty Dancing.
I was a little kid at the time, and pretty much I made almost all my shows. It's just if you had to rehearse during the day.
Exactly, but they
didn't.
And they just didn't. Yeah, it's because obviously the idea is like to make every effort to accommodate the shows, but if rehearsals went over, and so with the whole making every effort without it being a guarantee, business is business. This is what it is. There was nothing personal, and that's just how it goes in Broadway. There's nothing personal.
The good thing is, the really good thing about Motown is it does seem to be very loyal, and so that if anything ever people who want to come back. I'm sure Brandon will come back one day. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
If
You know.
they, you know.
And then she got extra lucky because not only did Sydney leave, but then Andrea Dora, who was doing Suzanne de Pass, originated the role, left. And originally when we did the workshops, the Supreme and Suzanne was always one person. But I think when we went to Broadway, they, you know, obviously they had to have the Supremes a certain body type and what have you. And Andrea did such a great job doing Suzanne de Pass that they just created Suzanne de Pass. So when she left, then they combined it because, and so now it's like she was already in the show doing the Supreme, and then found out that Suzanne was going to be added to her track. So she's like, So this is, you know,
but it's worked out.
It's worked out perfect.
It's great. It's great. It's a fun track and.
Absolutely,
I'm enjoying myself.
I just feel so, being in all the workshops in the very beginning. It's just, it's just, I feel like I've been a Moto forever.
I'm sure. Yeah, people don't realize by the time you get there, you had already been there. Oh
my gosh!
3 years of workshopping, and then we've been running for a little more than a year. So it's been, so it's been, It's been a big job.
Really, I'm just a newbie.
I mean, I can't catch up to your years in Lion King, but, you know.
And then with Book of Mormon, I didn't sleep for 3 years either because we were double duty.
Yes.
You know, when we first started, it was 28 pages and no second act. And Bobby and Matt and Trey were just like, we're just going to get some people together. And Stephen was like, call her. And, you know, they just went to get together people.
Yes.
And then 28 pages, double dutying, 3 years. And then Lion King was gracious enough to say, you've been working really hard. We'll give you a leave of absence.
Wow.
So I was still on that contract. And then I felt like for them to be that gracious, to give me 18 months, I went back.
Of course. Yeah, just showing your loyalty. And then now you're in Violet.
I'm going to go back. I quit. I had a retirement party and everything, and they said, they called again and they said, just hypothetically, if you don't extend when you're done, I said April 10th. They said, August 10th. They said, can you be here August 12th? I said, okay. And that's a door as a single parent too. You're just like, thank you that you feel that I'm that valuable. And yes, I don't want to turn down a job. You know, because I didn't know what I was going to be doing after August 10th. Actually, I didn't want to do anything. I told my manager, kind of don't want to work. I kind of want to see what that feels like for me. But God was like, no. And then now my contract, I see they overlap. They're like, watch the show that last week, and then when you're done Sunday, you can be in the show on Tuesday. So,
but the fact that they're still, even though you had, officially retired from the Lion King, the fact that they actually was still watching and so your show's gonna be and came to the show and supported you, that's amazing. And but I mean also it's sort of like your extended family. I mean, you are family. Like you've been with,
that's my home. I'm not gonna lie.
No, of course.
99.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So great.
That's amazing.
And they've seen your kids grow up. I mean,
and now I have a
I got a grandbaby. She got a baby. This woman does not look like a grandmother.
So now he sees the show. Everything is, I ain't king, mama. So that just takes me down. That he actually gets it now.
Right. Wow. That's pretty cute too. Because I don't know if your daughter was interested in the arts at all, but my son already, like at 3, definitely has
the fever.
The fever, and he's so dramatic. I can't even. I'm dramatic, but he is over the top. Unbelievable. So you're like, that really? You were just born with that? You came that way.
Wait, doesn't he have a name for you? Like a?
Sometimes he calls me Flo.
He calls me Flo.
Yeah. He'll be like, and when I go to work, he'll be like, I'll see you later, Flo. See you later, Flo. And he wants me to do the Flo voice.
I love it.
It's funny. But he sees the buses with Motown. He goes, Mama, that's your show, Motown. There's Motown. And he
so
recognizes
adorable.
it. It's like, oh, Mom's got to go to singing work.
Honey, you're going to train that baby to be
Oh,
little
my
Michael
goodness.
Jackson.
Oh, my goodness.
He's going to be nice.
That be something?
That would be
great.
crazy.
That would be
I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure how I feel about. Everybody's like,
I know
get
it's a
headshots of
different
it. I'm like,
world.
I know, but
Yeah, I mean, yeah, your
Unless
child
they
is...
want it out.
Because they really want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was little, my mom took me on an audition for Sesame Street. And because I was literally, I was bouncing off the walls when I was a kid. And to the point that my parents were advised to give me pills to slow me down.
See?
And so they were like, no, we're not giving her pills.
Yes.
So
Suppress
good
your
for them.
personality.
exactly, yeah, to suppress me, to like calm me down. So instead, they put me in karate classes, and
Perfect.
dance, and piano, and everything you can think of. And so my mom was like, well, Sesame Street, she likes watching it all the time. So they took me to Sesame Street. I was like 5 or 6, and I'm always talking all the time. And as soon as I walk into that room, they're like,
Yep. They're like, what happened?
they're like, well, what's your name?
You? Oh, this was you?
Shut
Yes.
down.
I thought you meant they
Shut
were
down. Shut down. I was so
Funny.
nervous.
I was like, hold on, she's not
Anybody
Yes, exactly.
They were like, she's adorable and she's talented, but she doesn't really talk.
She was like, it's not true, but
Not true at all. And of course now, as you know, I'm like, blah.
goodness, so
I
funny.
wouldn't. I was so quiet. I was so nervous.
I was shy
and
too. Really.
yeah, and then my mom, like, slowly, when I would do performances when I was like 10, 11, 12, I literally would sing with like a complete straight face, and then I would kind of scan the audience and see my mother, and my mom would just be like, and then I would literally, my face would be like this. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Isn't that the oddest thing? Isn't
that
the oddest
It's
thing?
so,
can
yeah. Now it's like, you'd have to drag me off stage. But before, so it's sort of like, everyone has to take their timing, it's like,
No,
even
see,
though
I was the opposite.
yes.
I feel like unless I knew or if I felt safe, I felt like I was painfully shy. My son is painfully shy. I used to throw up when they would ask him questions in kindergarten.
No.
But I felt like once I hit that stage, I was great. But if you were to put me in an environment where I'm not used to it, of course with my family and friends,
Yes.
I'm a little more gregarious, but I'm okay with being in the background, with not talking, with trying to figure everybody out and feel safe. And my first 2 months even at Lion King, I didn't talk. I was just like, oh God, I need to get this show.
Yes.
And then after that, it's on.
Then
But
Yes.
I was painfully shy, and I know what that feels
Yes.
like. But once I'm not, I wasn't performing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was okay with that actually.
Yes, and speaking of background, so you were definitely not in the background when the Tony Awards was on this year. And Rema Webb was singing her heart out, aside.
And I had pneumonia.
And you had...
One whole pneumonia.
And you're like, I'm not missing the Tonys for nothing.
I got a shot in my behind after a rehearsal
my
at 10 a.m. in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
That is what happened to me when we did the Motown recording, the Cast album.
Oh my God, that's
I've
the most
never
frightening
done
thing
that
ever.
before, but I was like,
Like no
talk,
technique,
nothing.
no nothing.
And there's
Nothing works.
certain
That's the worst.
situations where it's like the Tony Awards or
Yes.
the Grammys or
They were
original
gonna pull
cast
me.
album. One day they like, oh no, girl, yes.
Your dream.
Go.
Like, okay.
Not today. Not today.
They were gonna put your cover.
Well,
in?
what happened is we did the 10 a.m. rehearsal, and I went to do that last note, and nothing came out.
Oh.
So we're back on the bus, and I called my doctor, and she was like, "Meet me, I'll give you a shot." So they waited, and while we were there, my director was like, "So we're gonna have rehearsal at 1, and we want to work on that button." Then we get back to the theater, and I hear, "Rema Webb, please come downstairs." I knew it because I had already heard stage management call
Now, mind you had already gotten
the music
your-
director to the general manager's office, and I knew they're gonna pull me. I told Annie Golden, Orange is the New Black, I said, Annie Golden, I would never pull you. I said, Annie, you're going to pull me. 15 minutes later, she said, you know, we love you, we support you, we want to feature you, we want what's best for you, what's best, but we're going to have your understudy, just look at the rehearsal. And for some reason, when we had that rehearsal, that voice came out. Sutton was like, that's it, it's a wrap, it's fine. No. They pulled me back. She said, don't do the show, go upstairs and lay down. We're going to test you again at 4, just to make sure, honey. And then at 4, it even said,
yeah, because
there for the grace of God go I.
Yes.
I really have to say that. And I had a little thing of olive oil and a teaspoon. I took that, and it's probably at the Tonys now. And I put it on the floor, and I went out and
you went on. And hallelujah to that. And we are going to have to say goodbye to our fabulous Sabrina Sloan. Because
let's go to rehearsal.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to Broadway Live.
Yes.
Now she has rehearsals. I'll put in rehearsal at Motown.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's just how Broadway is. You know, there's always put in rehearsals. You're working during the day, even a show that's not even brand new.
Yeah.
Now, where's your baby now? Is he with the new?
He's with we have a sitter that's with him now, and he goes back and forth between because it's summertime, and so in the fall hopefully we'll have him in preschool. But yeah, the nan between like two babysitters, and they live really close by, so so I can call them last minute too.
Of course,
that could be another whole thing too.
That's
gotta wait till you get one that you like. Don't be afraid to let them go. Till you get what you like.
And you have a type
and I
that
talk
you
to
like
everyone
too.
that will say that. And that situation, so many people like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Because other people who, that is. We have to do another table.
Yes, another one.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for
so
being
much.
here.
It's just like a doctor.
Yes.
Or anyone, you have to keep going until you find the one that's best for you. You know, and so don't be afraid to, if it's not working for you, or if you feel like your kids just aren't happy with that person, or they're not listening to, you know, your desires or how you do things, it's okay to let them go and get someone else, or not being on time.
These are, especially if you're on a schedule, they have
Honey,
to.
I had one that would pack up everything I had, all the food that I would make, and take it home. I'm like, well, that could have been for yesterday, because it's really hard for me to cook. Honey, she would take her plate after and pack up everything. And this happened I said, oh, no.
What?
I said, she has, and then my son every day be like, I don't want that lady. Please don't let that lady.
Oh, no.
And so it's just like, she's not going to work.
Oh,
she's not going to work.
And this is food that you paid for?
Or I would,
that was cooked.
Paid for, cooked. All of that. And, you know, for us to cook, you know, and if I cook a big thing of spaghetti and make salad and garlic bread, if I cook, I'm cooking for a couple days at least.
Yes, absolutely.
We just don't have the time.
No.
Or if I buy
I love leftovers.
Yes. And it's
the best.
Your life is really, for me, I feel like my life every minute is down to the wire. So if that happens, that's like a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
So she was stressing me out.
Okay.
You know.
Now
I would get up in the morning and cook before we go to a show or rehearsal.
Yeah.
And
then you'd have it there and wrap it in the refrigerator and be done. Yeah. Wow. So now you have tell us the age of your 2 babies.
My daughter's 22, my son is 10, and I have a 2-year-old grandson.
A 2-year-old grandson. Wow. And so now you said originally, because you went into motherhood and working on Broadway with a husband that you were married to for 18 years, right? Okay. And so how is it different then and now?
Well, it's so funny. Even then, having him in my life, I just think with the life experience and building my own network of support, I think it's better for me now because, you know, I know that everything isn't the end all be all if I can't find a sitter. You know, I have my process now, and I know that it'll work out. So things are a little bit better. I do know when to be careful to make sure I plug in emotionally with my son. You know, my daughter's done.
Yes.
But just having that life experience behind me makes things a little bit better.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I hate them, but I'm not afraid. I don't fear them, and I just think I've built up my own system after, you know, I'll be 46 in September, so I pretty much have,
Ridiculous.
you know,
Ridiculous.
you know what I mean. I have all of that behind me.
Black don't crack.
There's no book on telling how to deal with my personality with that child and chasing my dreams.
And there are lots of books out there, but
yeah, but everything is an individual
absolutely
case by case thing, and
you
so
pretty much might as well just throw them out.
So whatever works for me, I have that
Of
for
course.
me in my little
Might
box.
not necessarily work for the
Yeah.
mother next door. Absolutely.
So this time around is a little more, is a lot better. It's a little easier. I mean, nothing's ever easier, but I just have my way of doing things that helps things.
Of course, you have a routine.
Yeah,
A routine that you
Yeah.
kind of developed.
my own
And
protocol.
then, and you kind of,
my
and then you
standard
just
operating
expand
procedure.
upon
It's
it.
a business, and I see my family as a business, you know, because my son is, even though my daughter's 22, you never stop parenting.
Oh, of course. Not.
You know, so she's a life.
Mm-hmm.
That's a business. He's a life, or that's a subdivision.
And
And then now there's my grandson, so we have all of that in home life company.
Yes.
And so that's another whole thing. So that's how I have to compartmentalize. And then it's Rema Webb with the thank God with the Broadway jobs, but then there's Rema Webb with the career. Even though you have a check coming in, you're working on a show, it doesn't end.
No, it doesn't.
Audition, you
You're
still have to do your
constantly
shows.
auditioning.
Yes,
for the
and you
next
have your
thing.
things,
Yes.
your dreams, and then I have a school, I have a business.
Yes.
So then there's that. So I feel like I have 4 corporations that I have to run. And there's, you know, you just have to figure out how to run that, and you have to compartmentalize, write it down and compartmentalize.
Yes.
And that's how I do my life.
Yes.
So,
Which is amazing and great, and such an inspiration to current mothers and future moms, and just knowing that anything is possible, and it's just, you know, you just
and I didn't
make it
even
happen.
add in there friends and extended family, because you can't forget
Oh yes, because sometimes
your family.
depending on family, you can't always
Say
choose your
no
family.
more.
But you can choose your friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the friends that really get you through certain situations than your family. And you know, everyone has their own situation, but you know, it's really important to have a great support circle around you, whether it's a family or a girlfriend or you know, or
Absolutely.
a mentor, anybody, you
Because
know.
most of us in this business we're here by ourselves. You know, most of us aren't from New York City.
Yes.
So we develop our extended family
Exactly.
amongst each other.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get back more to wanting to reconnect with, like, when I say my family, like, you know, making sure I make my family reunions.
Yes.
Make sure,
exactly.
like, to not forget to do all of that stuff that my mom did for me. Because we can get really caught up in that New York thing, and then one day look back and you're just like, oh, my grandparents are gone, the older ones have passed on, and I want to reconnect with my cousins and my siblings, and I'm starting to make that more of a priority now. I don't know when I'm going to find that time, but when
At
I
least you
can,
have it
I
on your-
do.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I agree. Because sometimes, you know, we do get kind of, we isolate ourselves in the world that we're living
But
in.
it's the
day by
space
day.
you're in right now,
Exactly.
and you don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And when you feel like you can open up,
Then
you will,
You
and
do.
you can't make any apologies for that. That's just me as auntie talking
no,
to you.
absolutely.
You know, just you know.
No, absolutely. Well,
Can we talk about you a little bit?
Can we
How
talk-
are you doing it all? Who are you?
who am I?
Seriously, I don't understand. And now, how are you feeling? What are your fears? Am I allowed to ask you?
Yeah, you fine.
your
You can ask me.
what are your
Come on, welcome,
concerns?
Spotlight readers.
What are your concerns? How are you feeling physically? How is the man at home with this amazing, phenomenal woman? And you're gonna have his baby.
Yes.
How is all of that?
yes.
How's your mom? up with all
Oh my God,
of
it's
this?
so, yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the career, and you know, you're on Broadway, but you also have Given to Kenji doing all those wonderful concerts that you do.
Yeah, I do
and now
concerts.
you're pregnant. How is that working? out for
It's working out fine, actually. It's definitely a different sensation, you know. I mean, to know that you have this living being that is developing in your tummy, and you're like, how you doing down there? It's a blessing.
Yeah.
I've been so blessed with being able to have a loving husband that supports my music, like, unconditionally, like, whatever I need to do, like, he is there supporting me. Thank you, Cindy.
Friends. Where's your dad? Okay.
I know. He is, he's, I have lots of girlfriends who are like, does he have a brother?
Yeah. Well, I'm in that stage,
cousin,
like when the young ones hit on me, I'm like, I'll date your father, your dad, but not you, honey.
I know, you're too young. You're still, we used to call him like, you're still breastfeeding. Technically not, but that's what we like to consider it. But and that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to focus on this, because people don't realize how many working moms are on Broadway. There's so many. We've only had time to focus on 2 today, but there's many on with all the Broadway shows that are happening, and it's. I feel like I wouldn't say it's hard. Trying to multitask at this point, because the baby hasn't been born yet. Yeah. But I think when you have like that drive and that hunger, you feed off of that adrenaline, you know, and it's like this extra energy that, like, I'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep because I have so much information going on in my head, things I have to follow up with, like things I need to do, music stuff that I have to organize, interviews I need to confirm for Spotlight magazine. It's just, it's just constant. It's constant, and I'm just like, and my husband Simeon will be just like literally, he'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and he'll see like the light of my telephone, and he's like, go to sleep. Go to sleep, baby. Go to sleep. No, put the sometimes he's trying to take the telephone because I'm literally writing notes, sending off emails. Like, oh, I forgot to send this email to this producer. I mean, people will get emails and text messages from me at like 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock, and
I so get it. I just didn't know anybody else really did that. Someone once said to me, our Bender Robinson once. Do you know our Bender?
Yes.
One day he was like, "Go to bed."
Are you like, did you really send me that email at 4 o'clock in the morning? Like, what were you? I'm trying to figure out what you were doing up. Yeah. You know, and then and when I was in Romania, for a whole month, visiting with family, and so it's a funny thing is because of my maternity leave, it's the only time that I get to take a break. Because when I'm in Motown, all of my vacations is used to do my orchestra gigs, or to do an opera engagement, or to, do another project. And so I never have a vacation. My vacation time is situated, like, for next year, my vacation's already booked for orchestra gigs. Okay, so I need to, call in my vacation time for the week of February 8th, because I'm doing a Canada gig then, and it's, all of this is being organized. And then now that we've kind of passed the 1-year threshold, you hope that you'll get released to do for a professional leave, but that's not guaranteed. No. So it's like, I have to make sure that I don't use up my vacation time, that I have enough vacation time.
So you kind of already have that down, because that's your life when you have kids.
Yes.
So you have that. That's you already have your the way that you work down, that's gonna be very beneficial to when you have
for when I have. And everyone's like, well, you know, I remember, what was it? There was a show that is in need of a, you know, a new lead, and the producer wasn't aware that I was pregnant. So I've been having meetings with them and talking, and I wasn't showing. So they're like, hey, do you think that you can come in for this role? You know, it should be opening in, you know, August, September. And that's when I had to tell them. I was like, well, yeah, that might be a little difficult. And I had to say, well, I sort of, by then I'm going to have a baby bump.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're pregnant? And, you know, all up until then, you know, we're dealing with business and trying to negotiate contracts and all that stuff. Like, they had no idea. And then they're like, wow, so then you'll be out of commission for a good year or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'll be up and running 2 months after that baby is born, you know. I'm just like, there's one gig that I have, literally, my due date is October 7th. And I have a gig November 1st that I'm probably going to have to cancel. Because
when is your baby due?
October 7th.
And it's November 1st?
So like three weeks later. And I said to myself,
if you could just get up and go sing, but if it's rehearsals and stuff.
But it's not, no, it's in Canada.
No,
so
it's,
So, and I told my husband at this point, I was like, oh yeah, honey.
Can you edit some of this too?
Yeah. Go back to Christmas. Like, get through that holiday
and enjoy your baby, your time, and having holiday.
We're gonna take a little break.
Okay.
So it's been a wonderful ride and a roller coaster at the same time. But I feel like I have this great support system that is going to help me along this next chapter in my life, which I'm so excited about. I'm just like, come out now, Giselle Martina. I just want to like,
it's a girl?
It's a girl.
Oh my God.
Honey, girl.
Oh, the princess.
She is definitely. I already have like the Disney princess crib set that I plan on having for her room. Like everything's like Disney princess and pink, and you know, I'm very mad when I don't find things that has pink in it.
You're a girly girl. I love it. I love it.
It's like, yes, that registry that I have is like of everything, from like dresses with bonnets and just everything lace and white and yellow and pink and lavender and my husband's like, oh my God. But he's very and it's kind of great because, you know, he's entering this stage of where he's going to be a dad, and I find him, he's always been protective, but I find him even more protective now. You know, like, don't, you know, where are you going? Why do you have to travel so late? Or, you know, like, you know, do you need help? Or let me open the door for you. Do you want me to massage your feet? Or, you know, just to make me comfortable, you know? And so that's really great. And now, you know, with the baby coming, and we're hoping that, you know, my mom or his mom is going to be there, but he has a very flexible job where he can work from home and have someone go out and work, you know, on the road for him. And so if for some crazy reason we don't have help from our immediate family members, you know, when I'm not home, he'll be home.
Oh, good.
You know, so I haven't gone into that whole realm of like getting a nanny yet or trying to find.
You won't want that.
I don't want to do that. So it's just, and then still doing like my orchestra gigs and still doing opera and still doing Motown and still working on projects that, which, you know, you have developed your own school, and which I think it's amazing. And it's, I think women such as ourselves are always constantly trying to develop ourselves into, so like, even though you're working full time and you're auditioning, you're still looking for the next thing. And for me, I'm very active in, I feel it strongly about trying to develop projects, you know, so like I
Yeah.
want to like develop a new musical, and I want to develop a TV show, and all these
So you're gonna
big,
produce.
yeah, all
that's
these things that are in my
wonderful.
head. I'm like, oh, I got to do this now, and
It
you know,
just never ends
it
when your
never-
brain works like that.
exactly. And I'm just never. It's not that I'm not satisfied with where I am
No.
now. I'm blessed and happy where I
Mhm.
am now, and I feel like because of where I am now helps propel me to the next
Right.
level, and I have more of a foundation
Mhm.
than if I wasn't where I was now.
Right,
You
exactly.
know? And
Mhm.
so that's sort of, and now having you on Spotlight Magazine video, we're just, you know, at first I started doing this column every
Okay,
month,
yeah.
and then I started really getting into interviewing people,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that obviously I probably would have enough information to write a whole magazine, but my column is, you know, 2 to 3 pages long at the most,
Yes.
and I'm always having to edit. And so I felt that, well, why don't I do video footage to support all the
So
different
amazing.
articles, because I feel that, you know, people want to really know the people, and I try my best for the personalities to come out from the column and the writing. But at the end of the day, you know, it's so much more interesting to be able to see a video of
Yes.
the people and watch the actual interview, and unedited, you know, you get to hear more of their response than me trying to put like a five paragraph response into 2
Right.
paragraphs and trying to get it right at
Yes.
a point and be like,
Mhm.
and done, thank you for reading. And so it's nice for people
So
to be able to
interesting.
connect, you know, so I'm so happy that you're able to come,
Thank you for
and people
having
could
me.
come and like watch this and connect with you and see this exuberant light that you kind of
I'm so
bring
happy
into a
for
room.
you.
So yeah.
This is a very lucky girl.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm so happy for
goodness,
you.
well, I'm very, very happy to be here and happy that you're here.
Thank you.
And Rema Webb, everyone, from Broadway's musical Violet, who performed on the Tony Awards this year. If you haven't caught it, YouTube it. You'll definitely thank me for that. And going back to Lion King
Yes.
in August, amazing. So this woman's always working. And
I have a project in February. We can't announce it yet, but
ooh,
hopefully, you know, as of now, things are being worked out. But I cannot. I hope it goes for it.
yes.
And it's going to be amazing, and hopefully that'll be on Broadway too. So
Okay, so this woman is moving and shaking,
you have to.
and a mom, and a grandmother, and it looks like she's 25. So thank you, Spotlight Magazine listeners and watchers, and we'll see you next time at Divina Kenji on YouTube. Bye.